how's everyone doing? Oh my gosh, sorry for being a wee bit late. In life I can be late, but usually I'm not for my calls, and Facebook is doing all these updates, so it got a little bit crazy. Anyway, I hope you're all doing really well. Welcome to the first Wake the Fuck Up Wednesdays. All right, so anyway, I have to do this off of my phone because of the way that Facebook was kind of updating. My laptop was going crazy. So I hope you can see me okay and hear me okay. So send me some love if you're on. Go ahead and send me some hearts, send me some likes, comment, let me know what's going on. Oh, what is this here? Oh, hey Nicole, what's up? Hey Laura, awesome. Hey. All right, so it's so cool to see some of you here. I think it's hilarious that this is easier to do off of my phone than my laptop. Anyway, so, oh, thank you, Laura. Yeah, do you guys like my new wallpaper? This is like COVID. It looks real, doesn't it? That's just wallpaper. It's pretty cool. Peel and stick, man. It's the shizzle. Anyway, so, you know, what I wanted these to be was a way for us to get some inspiration and hang with each other for the hump day of the week. I was sort of debating what day I wanted to do these on, and everybody's like, do it on Monday because it sets the tone. And I'm like, Monday is already so like intensely scheduled and people are so maxed out. Friday, I don't know about you, but I don't want my freedom junkies hanging out on Facebook on a Friday. So I was like, Wednesday. That way we can all have like long weekends and not worry about missing it. And it'll be awesome, okay? So anyway, I had been thinking about, you know, what should I talk about today? Because there's so many different topics that people wanted to discuss throughout the whole time that we have the Rebel Buddhist Facebook group, right? So in general, what I'll do is I will teach on a topic and then I'll leave some time for Q&A, okay? And we'll just see how it goes and maybe it'll morph. So one thing that I have been seeing as a common theme in the last week, which to me means it's a sign from the universe that I should probably talk about it more broadly, is this concept of setting up intentions, right? And what I call mini visualizations, okay? And it is really great for like mini manifestations. And the reason I want to talk about this is because while I go into thought work really in a detailed way in Freedom School, there are some hacks you can use in the meantime if you're not familiar with how to use the thought models that I teach and things like that, okay? And some of you that have been with me from the beginning with like, you know, back when my retreats over at Brighton Bush and Oregon and things like that, you may find this tool really familiar. But anyway, I wanted to give you this hack that you can use to help create a more positive mindset that you can apply to everyday situations when you can't sort of access doing a thought model in the way that I teach more intensively, okay? So it's sort of a 4-step process, okay? And what I want you to use this for is for situations where you're a little bit unsure about what the outcome would be, and maybe it's creating a little bit of a mind fuck, right? Like maybe an interview, maybe putting yourself out there on social media, maybe having a difficult conversation with a partner or with a friend, maybe with starting a business, or following up with a client, and that might be kind of awkward. So basically any situation that you're a bit anxious about, I want you to use this with, okay? So the first step is I want you to visualize what you are going to be doing when you're sort of walking into the room or walking into the situation, okay? So if this were a job interview, it would be you picturing yourself walking into that room and seeing the people in there, okay? Or it could be, you know, when you walk into the house to have the conversation with the person. Some of you may say, but how am I going to know what that even looks like? It like doesn't matter. You visualize how you want it to look like. That's the point of this, okay? So I want you to visualize how you want to feel walking into that room or entering into that situation, okay? Even more importantly, in some ways than visualizing this, is I want you to embody how you want to feel walking into the situation, okay? So that means that you're going to maybe want to feel confident, or maybe you have a tendency to lose your shit, so you want to feel compassionate or calm or peaceful. I'm laughing because that's always mine, right? I'm a very fiery Leo. Let's just put it that way. So visualize walking in, visualize and embody how you want to feel. That is super important. 2, you're going to visualize what it's like during the whole interaction, right? Exactly what you're going to say. You can even, I want you to get detailed, right? In these visualizations, how is your hair? How are you looking? Are you walking and totally rocking it, right? Oh, I see my hair person. Sorry, Debbie, I didn't do my hair today. Anyway, so I want you to visualize just how amazing you're gonna feel and look, what you're wearing. You're gonna walk in there, you're gonna sit down. What is your facial expression? What exactly are you gonna say to these people, right? Or to this person? How are you gonna deliver it? What is their response going to be? And remember, this is not about visualizing all the shit that could go wrong. This is visualizing how you want it to go, okay? So then you're visualizing, oh yeah, they're gonna totally agree, right? And they're gonna give me what I'm asking for. And then you're also embodying that feeling. Because maybe when you walk in, you wanna feel excited. Maybe during it, you wanna feel confident or grounded, whatever that is, okay? So you're visualizing, again, the detail and you're embodying the feeling. 3, you're gonna go and visualize yourself how you leave the situation. When you walk out the door, how do you feel? What does that look like? Are you just strutting? Are you walking out calmly, right? Do you have this huge smile on your face of excitement? Is it a smile of pride? What is it? And what's the emotion that you're having as you leave that scenario, okay? Then the 4th step, and this is so important, is I want you to visualize the best possible scenario. And I'm talking like the best possible scenario. Like if we're looking at a job interview, for example, you are visualizing not just that you got it, but that they offered you more money and more paid vacation time or whatever it is. And you know why that is so important? It is so important because if you don't visualize the best possible scenario, it can't happen. Like the iPhone that I'm doing this on did not happen without someone visualizing it. If you don't visualize something, you cannot put it out. Like the universe doesn't even know that that's what you want. So you have to visualize it to even give it the remote possibility of happening. So this is why dreaming is so important too, you know, and I don't mean bedtime dreaming, right? I mean, this is why dreaming of what you want, the best possible scenario. This is why that is so important, because only once you visualize it does it become possible with anything someone invents, right? With any concepts. It's like the person first had to visualize the iPhone. They had to visualize a satellite. They had to visualize a new design of clothing. They had to visualize, you know, how they're going to do your makeup or your hair, whatever. It can apply to anything. So those are the 4 steps. Let's review them again. Visualize and embody how you want to feel going into the situation. Visualize and embody how you're going to feel during it and exactly what's happening. Visualize and embody how you're going to feel walking out. And lastly, what is the best possible scenario? And you are going to practice this over and over before that actual event. And then you're going to do this right before. So I mean, literally, you're like in your car and you do it again. You close your eyes, you walk through it. Because here's the thing. Your mind, if you visualize something, it's like it's happening. And when your mind is on board with what you want, it's more likely to help you out and keep shit in alignment with your goals, right? This is why you may have heard like prisoners of war. have, talked about, well, I just, for years being stuck in the prison camp, I visualized my golf game. And I visualized making all those hard, what is it called in golf? Hard shots. I don't know what they're called in golf. Whatever, hard shots. Let's just go with it, okay? And they visualize it over and over. And when they come out of the prison of war camp, they're playing their best golf game yet. I mean, that is how powerful visualization is. Athletes use this all the time, right? Like people are using it when they are visualizing a big game. You can read all about this. The power of visualization is a fact. We see it. This is why people spend money training their athletes to do it. So take advantage of it as well, okay? So use the power of your mind to visualize not just what you want, but what is possible. Okay? All right, any questions about that before I go on? I'm not seeing any questions yet. Hey. Ooh, what a pretty name. Is it Sane? Such a pretty name. Hi, everyone. Hey. Okay, so the other thing I wanted to talk about that is a common theme right now is this sort of imposter syndrome, okay? Like not having the confidence to really step into the next big game, the next chapter in your life, okay? And this, I want to say, is really common with women, all right? And I coach women, and so I see this all the time. And the first thing I want to say to you is if you are holding back on taking the next step because you feel unqualified, just from a feminist perspective, I want to let you know that the vast majority of men apply for shit that they're not even qualified for. And women tend to wait until they are overqualified for shit. And then they don't even negotiate once they get a salary, right? Once they get an offer. Like, oh, yay, I got it. No, girl, none of that, okay? So first of all, when it comes to the imposter syndrome, realize that part of that is growing up in a patriarchy, right? No matter where you grew up in the world, I mean, there are probably some holdouts in terms of some earth-based cultures out there, but in general, we are growing up in a patriarchy that is sending us messages that we are less than. Now, that is not an excuse. It is an awareness to have so that you don't let that quote-unquote fact of the patriarchy take over your brain and your dreams and how you act in the world and how you think of yourself. It's not like, oh, poor me, I grew up in a patriarchy, and so this is why I think this. No, that's not what I'm saying. I'm saying just understand where that often comes from, okay? And let's just acknowledge that those are thoughts that have been implanted into our brains that we have thought over and over and over, right? Which, when you have a thought that you've thought over and over, guess what happens? It becomes a belief. That is all a belief is. Your belief that you are not qualified is just because you've had a thought that you've thought over and over and over, and now it seems like a fact, right? The belief seems like a fact because we have repeatedly implanted this thing into our brain. That is all a belief is. And it feels like a fact because it's our default. But when we examine that, it's like, wait a minute, I could actually do this. Where is that thought coming from, right? So yeah, it's usually implanted by some factor like media and family, right? Our cultural milieu and what's going on at the time. So those things come in. And again, you are not to use that as an excuse. You are to use it as a method of understanding, hey Jenny, so that you can then step up and change your mindset around it, okay? So when you're having imposter syndrome, really look at yourself and see if there are examples out there of people who have done what you want to do without the qualifications that you think you should have. Like, for example, with starting businesses, so many of the people that have started the biggest companies never finished college, right? And I'm sure that there are women out there who feel like they can't start their business until they have an MBA from Harvard, right? Right. Because it takes a rebel, right? You need to really be challenging those thoughts that have been implanted into your mind in a way that you can then step out of this box, okay? I would say that the majority of people that have come to me with imposter syndrome have no grounds for it, you know? They're like, oh, I want to start this coaching business, but I need to have this certification. Or I want to help young women, but I need like some degree in like developmental psychology or something. And it's like, no, you don't. You know, I always think about mothers, and like, as a good example, like they feel like stay-at-home moms, they're like, I don't have any work background or something, right? And I'm like, girl, you've been managing schedules, you have been having to stay organized, you've been having to multitask and all of these things. Like, you are capable of so much more because of your life experience. And if you want to get out there and help people, use your own life experience as valid as well, okay? Now, this is not to say if you want to get a degree, go ahead. And obviously, some things require degrees before you can even practice, like becoming a lawyer or becoming a nurse or whatever. But in the meantime, it doesn't mean that you are not capable of beginning, okay? One of the things that I often see that I really want to talk to you right now is that Jenny says, totally agree with you, sister, right? And so one of the things is that we often think, okay, to get the result that I want, I need to be that person. Or like I need to be that person, and I can't really embody all that until I have the job or until I have the degree or until I have that credential, right? It's like I can't be successful unless I have all those things. And it's actually the opposite, y'all. It's kind of crazy. But it's like, to get to that point, you need to be the woman that is already there. That's how you get there, is believing that you are already there, believing that it's as good as done, believing that you are completely capable. You don't wait to feel capable until you've achieved the result. You don't wait to feel competent until you have the business or X amount of income. The way you create the business or the X amount of income, the way you create your freedom-based lifestyle and travel around the world, the way that you get that camper van you've always wanted or whatever, is not to think about how you're not there already. You need to think about how you are already embodying those qualities and how you can continue to embody those in the meantime, right? Like, I did not build my business by saying, one day I'll be a successful life coach. That is not how I got there. When people ask me what I did before I had any clients, they're like, what do you do? And I wasn't like, I'm a nurse, I'm a midwife, right? Which I was at the time. I was like, I'm a life coach. Hi, here's my fucking card, motherfucker, call me, right? It was like, you need to be that person. Because guess what? If I didn't believe already that I was an amazing life coach, would I have recruited people like that? No, right? So can you see? It's not gonna happen if you're waiting to feel a certain way. Another lesson, Jenny's saying, oh my, it's like you read my mind, saving up for a camper van, right? Because I've been there. So the thing is, y'all, that if you are feeling rushed to get your result, here's another big lesson I learned, especially in the last year, because I just set some pretty amazing goals for myself for the next year. And it was kind of creating some stress for me. And because I know that I don't create what I want from a place of stress, I really did some work around this. And one of my colleagues, he said, if you are in a hurry to get to goal X over there, It's because you think that it's better over there. So let's think about that, right? We all kind of think that. We all kind of think, okay, if I was traveling all the time, if I had my camper van, right, Jenny? If I had that job I wanted, if I didn't have the job I currently have, I would be so much happier. That's what creates the sense of urgency, right? The stress. Because we think it's going to be better over there. But the reality is, it's not. I have so many clients, right, that work with me. They're like, I want to reach this goal. And then they get to that goal, which is awesome. They're like, yay, that was amazing. And they're like, why don't I feel amazing? It's like they did feel amazing for like a wee bit. Thanks for the love, y'all. I see the hearts. Send me some hearts. I see, you know, that they have achieved the goal, but then they are thinking, wait a minute, I am not feeling any different. What is wrong? And that's because of this false belief that it's going to be better over there, because life is still life over there, y'all. Shit still happens. Life and its hard parts is still happening. When you're making X amount of money, when you're traveling on the road, when you're chillaxing in the hammock, like shit still happens. So we can't just pretend that life is going to be so much better once we achieve these goals, because that's not how you get those goals, and you're going to be really disappointed. I'm sorry to say, you're going to be really disappointed when you get there, because I've seen it so many times. Now, I'm not saying it doesn't feel awesome to achieve your goals and the amount of pride you have, but you know, this is where we end up with people wanting to meet this goal, then they choose the next one and the next one and the next one. There's nothing wrong with that, as long as your motivation is to just do it, to achieve it for the sake of achieving it, not because you think it'll make you feel better. Because what makes us feel better is our thoughts in the present moment. I talk about this in the podcast that's going to be released tomorrow. Today's Wednesday, right? Wake the fuck up Wednesday. So tomorrow I talk about how to change your past. And it's really related to that, okay? It's really related to this concept that, you know, our past is making us feel sad, right? Or our future might make us feel happy. But really, anything that's causing whatever we're feeling right now is our thoughts about the past or the future. But it's all we have is right now, right? All we have is the present moment. We hear that all the time, but we don't, and we're like, yeah, I get it intellectually. But what that means is stop fucking around in your past and in your future, right? Set your dream, visualize your dream, and then let go, because the shit that's gonna happen is gonna happen. Let go, focus on the now, get your mind in alignment. Get your mind in alignment, because that is what's going to shape your actions right now, right? One thing I teach in the Mindset Bootcamp in Freedom School is your thoughts create your feelings, which create your actions, which create your results in life. So you don't get to your goal by worrying about it, by wishing that you were there, by being sad that you aren't there yet, by getting upset about how long it's taking. You don't change your past by playing it over and over and over again in your mind, because you know what that does? You just repeat the fucking past. This is why people make the same mistakes over and over. This is why they make the same mistakes in relationships and all that, right? The way that you affect your future is to become completely present and to totally rock your mindset in this current moment. All right? Hey, Haley. Saw you there. Hop on. Good to see you. Okay, so what is it that you think will make you feel better? Is it a different job? Is it a different life situation? Is it the vacation? Is it a different house? Is it a different partner, right? Whatever it is, what do you think is going to make you feel better? And then rein that shit in, because it's not. It's gonna maybe make it easier to manage your mind so that you can feel better. But what really happens when we are like bringing people into our life that we like, it's usually that they just make it easier for us to not have to deal with our shit, right? Hey, Amy, what's up? So when we bring people into our lives and we're like, I like them, usually what we're saying is they make it easy for me to not have to work with my thoughts because they agree with things I say. They follow my manual, right, of how I want people to behave around me, the manual of like what it means to be with me. And I like them, right? And so we think that when we are upset that we can change, like, let's get rid of the person. But did you ever realize the person's still the same person? They are still the same person that you really liked. But now they're just no longer following your manual, right? They are just no longer agreeing with what you say or doing what you expect them to do. So what just happened? What happened was we think that the other person is making us happy. What happened is we thought that that was the situation, but no, it was our thoughts about that person. And then when they are still them and they do something that is not in alignment with our thoughts about how they should behave, then we get upset. So it's not the other person. It's not the lifestyle. It's not that future thing that will make you feel better. So again, I'm saying that because you really need to realize that to achieve any dream that you want out there, you need to manage your shizzle right now and stop pretending that getting there is going to make you feel better. You need to do the work right now to feel better so that you, when you are feeling better, you take action from a place that is going to get you there. So, what kind of spurred my babble about this was the concept of imposter syndrome. If you are having thoughts that you are not qualified, what's going to happen? Right? If you're having thoughts that your friends like you, but you're not really worthy of their friendship, or that maybe if they knew the real you, they wouldn't like you, right? If you had the thought that it's all bullshit, you're going to feel shitty, and that's going to lead to shitty action, and it's going to basically create, in a self-fulfilling prophecy kind of way, what you are all worried about, right? You're not going to be qualified. If you feel like you're unqualified, you're not going to sit there and study and learn and, do what it takes to get there. You're going to wallow. So whether with imposter syndrome, whether with relationships, whether with goals and dreams, don't get lost in the fallacy that what's out there is going to make you feel better. Because it's not, right? Life is always 50-50. This is why, when I'm talking to coaches that are just starting and they're like, oh, this is so hard. And I'm like, girl, it's still hard, but it's just hard in different ways. You have different problems, right? Same thing with relationships. You guys have seen this. You have one relationship, you're unsatisfied, you go to another one, new problems, right? And sometimes we're ready for just a different problem. And that's totally legit. Just don't get lost in the idea that changing it is what will make you happy. Changing it just makes your mind a little easier to manage. So don't wait to feel better. So how do you do that, right? Well, we talked about the sort of mini stuff in the visualizations, right? Remember the 4-step visualization. For those of you that hopped on later, you can go ahead and watch the recording of this, but I walk through a 4-step visualization for how to manage your mind and really create a positive mindset and energy for a challenging situation you're going to be dealing with. So I want you to go ahead and do that, right? So that's one hack. And the other way is to really become aware of your thoughts, right? Become aware of your thoughts right now and these sort of facts that you're thinking, like, oh, once I have that, I'm going to be happy. Once this goes away, I'm going to be happy. Because when you can fully realize that and embody that, it is so empowering, right? When we realize we've created the current situation with our minds, not in a way of blame, but in a way of power, to acknowledge the power of your mind. When you realize that you've created this with your mind, even if it's shitty, that is very empowering, because now you're like, holy shit, I can create something totally different, right? When you become aware of all your negative thoughts that created your current situation in terms of like your current situation and looking at things you don't like, or when you're aware of how your thoughts created all the amazing things in your life, right? Take ownership of it. Girl, you weren't lucky. You manifested that shit because you managed your mind, right? You looked back and you were like, I was so positive about this. It was as good as done. You know, I think about how, for me, I think this is why entrepreneurship has been such a spiritual path for me, because, you know, academics for me are easy. Like, what I think is hilarious is like, with applying to, like, I'm in Johns Hopkins right now in a postdoctoral program. School is easy for me, so don't compare yourself to, like, whatever. Like, I just like school, okay? And I managed to get my tuition paid for. So it's like, for me, it's fun. It's like reading, okay? It's like my hobby. So I was accepted into Johns Hopkins postdoctoral program, but what's crazy to me is I didn't even worry if I would get in or not, right? I was just like, of course I'm going to get in. I get into everything I apply to. And, well, with my podcast, it was like, I'm so scared to do my podcast, right? And it's like, why is there that difference, right? With the confidence. It's just in my mind. So I had to do the mind management, right? Like, how can I think about any challenging thing I want, just like I do about academics, right? Because it's so easy for me. What if I approached everything in my life like it's as good as done? And some of you might say, well, what if you get disappointed and you don't get the job? Or what if you get disappointed and the relationship doesn't work out? Or what if you get disappointed and you have to stay in your current job? Yeah, what if? At least you enjoyed the journey and had positive thoughts and feelings through the journey. Why fail ahead of time and feel shitty ahead of time before something even happens? Choose the positive mindset. You are going to be way more likely to manifest the results you want when you are coming from a place of alignment with your thoughts and feelings to take the action you need to create that. And then, let's say things don't work out, at least you're feeling good until that point. And then it's not like you regret, oh, I just felt shitty this whole time, right? But what's ironic, and I want to remind you of this, is that the likelihood of failure is so much lower when you have a higher vibration, when you are in alignment with creating that result. One of the main things that separates successful people, and I don't just mean financially, I mean spiritually and emotionally, right, is believing that it's possible. You know, I think about my meditation teachers, right? And I think about just like, for me, like the philosophy of Buddhism in general, that we all have Buddha nature within us. Like we are all capable of attaining like our highest good. All of us, all living beings, right? And if you believe that that's possible, that is like a whole different mindset than if you're taught that your inherent nature is flawed, right? And then I think about, you know, the power of some meditations with like visualizations and why they're so effective. And it's because you're visualizing yourself as this amazing, achieved being. So it applies not just to like financial success, it applies to like spiritual growth, intimacy in relationships. You know, when you see that it's possible, you are way more likely to achieve it. So, I hope that this was beneficial to you. I hope it helped you wake the fuck up in the middle of the week, okay? And if you hopped on late, hey Kristen, hey Bruna, so go ahead and when this ends, you can go ahead and watch the replay because we covered some amazing things, okay? We covered the 4-step visualization. We covered mindset stuff, so much stuff, probably too much stuff. I'll try to keep it simpler next time. But if you want to dive into this, y'all, we are going in Freedom School next month in June. We're going to be all focused on rewriting your past in a way that is more beneficial to you, right? Because what we've learned today is that our past doesn't impact us. It's our thoughts about our past that impacts us, right? It's our thoughts about our past that is affecting the way we feel and the actions we take right now, not the actual past itself. So we need to rewrite the story in your head, because your story is a bunch of thoughts about that. So if you want to do this, go to joinfreedomschool.com, okay? Jenny's saying, can you recommend any books to read regarding what you've been talking about? You know, off the top of, most of the stuff I've learned hands-on, right? Like through my trainings and my studying, in terms of, Buddhism, I've studied a lot. Like, to me, this is sort of a concept of emptiness, right? And if you listen to my podcast tomorrow, I quote some texts because it, very much Buddhism is about managing your mind. So a lot of what, I've done and why this is called Rebel Buddhist is I take a lot of those concepts and I make them really sort of practical and reachable by a lot of people. But you know what I'm going to do is I'm going to tag you, Jenny, and I'm going to look at my bookshelf here because I'm looking and there's a ton of books here, and I'm going to see which one I think can really relate to my topics today. Okay, so keep an eye out in the comments or in another post and I'll go ahead and tag you on that. So y'all, there's a bonus in Freedom School right now where you can get one-on-one monthly coaching with me for free if you sign up for the year, and you get 2 months of Freedom School for free. So please check it out. Joinfreedomschool.com. We're going to dive into it. In the meantime, watch the replay. Keep an eye out for those other resources I'm going to post, and have an amazing rest of your week. Kick some ass. Get in alignment with your thoughts right now. Don't hang out in the future. Don't hang out in the past. Make your shizzle happen right now, okay? Mwah! I love you so much. You're welcome all. Bye.